The couple Andy and Kay, their 1-year-old daughter Rosie, and their houseboat in rural Australia are safe from a virus that turns people into zombies within 48 hours. While moving to a new location for the night, Andy spots 2 children playing by the river. He shouts to them, but when the father notices Andy, he flashes a revolver in his belt. In the afternoon, Andy is fishing supplies out of the water with a net. As the food rations start to run out, Kay mentions her plans to land, but Andy doubts it. After the transition, the scene shifts to a young Aboriginal woman attaching leaves to her shoes. A minute later, it returns to Andy, who has spotted an abandoned sailboat, then proceeds to investigate it. Food is presented to a skeptical Kay after he retrieves it. Having been assured that the sailboat he ransacked is safe, Kay decides to return alone to collect more supplies. Andy left the room when he heard thuds coming from a door in the wall, but Kay was unaware of this, and is attacked by a zombie that emerges from the door. After waking up to Rosie's crying, Andy goes to find Kay. Her knee is bleeding from a bite and she is trying to stop it from spreading. Her next appearance involves her investigating a pack that was previously obtained by Andy from the river. In it is a bracelet that measures the amount of time left for an infected, which Kay wears, and an injection that neutralizes the brain, so an infected feels no pain as they transition. Andy and Kay discuss their plans, confirming her vulnerability. The family abandons their houseboat to seek treatment at a hospital. They pass by the burning remains of a body. An Aboriginal girl named Thumi sketches in a sketchbook. After leaving behind the picture of the man with his head in the ground, she leaves her shelter with a rabbit carcass that she throws into the pit. She covers her ears when she hears gargling. There is a vehicle that Andy and Kay have found. In the midst of filling the gas tank, Kay notices yellow slime on the backseat. They narrowly avoid a zombie that is advancing on them. On the way away, one is seen struggling to lift its head off the ground. The two pull over on a deserted stretch of road for Andy to check a map and Kay to change Rosie's diaper. She collapses off-screen, convulsing and throwing up blood while Andy holds her steady. Again, Thumi is seen chucking a snake carcass into the pit, but no sounds can be heard. She climbs down to check, then leaves quickly. In the car, Kay notices that her wound is oozing yellow slime after coming to her senses. She gets up in a rage and starts shouting at Andy because he has been keeping her developments from her. Subduing her, he convinces her to stay with him. Andy is distracted by a lone man on the road and crashes into a tree, impaling Kay. The shock causes Andy to faint, leaving Rosie strapped in her seat. After several hours, he wakes up and tries to wake Kay, but she has already converted, as evidenced by pus in and around her eyes. When he tries to exit the car, she bites him. Andy approaches the car, with Rosie sitting safely a distance away, and by placing her bracelet on himself instead, he begins walking on foot while carrying Rosie. Throughout the journey, she weeps but is eventually calmed by using Kay's perfume. After resting, he witnesses the man that caused the crash, but upon realizing the man is a zombie, prepares to defend himself. As Thumi attempts to dissuade Andy from harming the man, her father, she cuts her hand with a rock in order to draw blood and lead him away. The journey ends when Andy reaches the intended town, where he meets Etta, a retired schoolteacher. In addition to helping him clean his wounds, she informs him that all the Aboriginals have left the region, including many of her former students. Andy steps outside and sees fires that were started by Aboriginals in the distance. A woman can be seen calling out for Thumi. In a hospital room that night, Andy has his first seizure. The next morning, he awakens and goes to meet Etta, who tells him to look for Willie, Thumi's father, to take care of Rosie. She explains that when Aboriginal hunters begin fires, they are cleansing the land with the killing of zombies they encounter. Etta warns Andy to stay away from them. While traveling, Andy takes Rosie to a ruin to give her water. In the process of leaving the area, he passes several zombies with their heads in the ground, but one rises and follows him. After finding the truck, Andy attempted hijacking it, but was stopped by Vic, who saved him from the zombie which had been after him, but Andy was unaware of. Vic is trapped under a tank and hands Andy the keys, making Andy promise to rescue him first, so that they can escape approaching zombies together. Andy is taken to Vic's shelter, an outpost that was formerly a gas plant. As he meets Lorraine, the wife of Vic, She is quietly surprised that people are still people. Vic tries to persuade Andy to leave Rosie with Lorraine so they can both get to work. Vic's job is to shoot zombies and collect their valuables because, according to him, when the country returns to normal, everyone will want riches again. As bait, Vic imprisons healthy, living humans inside cages, attracting the zombies. Andy is disturbed to see Thumi trapped. At the shelter, Lorraine takes care of Rosie. During a power outage, Rosie feels uncomfortable. Lorraine tries to cheer her up, but finds slime on her stomach. Andy and Vic visit another cage. As entrails, a radio, and blood are used to lure zombies, Andy is compelled to question his actions for a moment. While at the shelter, Lorraine mentions cleaning up Rosie briefly. Having just put his daughter into a makeshift crib, Andy plays with her, his hand beginning to twitch. The man leaves the shelter with an injection, but he cannot bring himself to use it. As Lorraine approaches him, she confesses she is not Vic's wife, and that Vic saved himself by letting her husband die along with other gas workers. Out of suspicion, Vic approaches them and knocks Andy out with the butt of his gun, leaving him chained in the same cage as Thumi. By using the combined force of many zombies, they are able to open the cage, return successfully to the shelter, rescue Lorraine, Rosie, and the keys to both cages and chains. They didn't get very far before Vic emerged from the shelter and opened fire on them. Lorraine sacrifices herself so that they can escape. Andy follows Thumi to the cage he visited earlier, but the man inside is no longer there. Vic is unable to locate them, so they spend the night in a gulch. Following their release from the chains, they are supposed to fall asleep until later that night, when Thumi finds heavy breathing and hides with Rosie while Andy rubs his face against blood on the wall. Next morning, Andy and Thumi discuss her father's health, which leads to Thumi running off because Andy said her father wouldn't be able to recover. The same woman who called for Thumi leaves Willie's jacket hanging from a tree branch. After arriving at the tree, Thumi finds her dead father straddled atop it, dead. Andy arrives to comfort Thumi, but leaves when he is unable to. Another breakdown occurs and he begins to burrow his head into the ground. Although Thumi remains at the tree grieving, she hears Rosie's cry and goes to help her. Thumi confronts Andy after he awakens, deciding to help him reach the river. Using a motorboat, they sail to the campsite where Andy last saw the family, where they inspect the RV. Andy leaves with Rosie to look for the family, while Thumi stays in the RV. Having seen the father, who has been bitten, he shows him his revolver once more. The father says the gun contains 6 bullets, and Andy can have the remaining 2 after using them on himself and his family. 3 gunshots are heard in the distance as Andy retreats. The 4th is delayed while the father uses it on himself and collapses behind him. While Andy collects the gun, he contemplates whether he should also shoot himself. Afterwards, Thumi rushes to them, claiming that she is ready to return home and remove her leaves. Seeing smoke on a nearby hill, they set off together. In a train tunnel, they meet Vic. While Thumi hides with Rosie inside a parked vehicle on the tracks, Andy attempts to distract Vic. 2 men fight, and Andy fires 2 shots but misses them both. Having been briefly defeated, Andy is unable to assist Thumi, who Vic pulls from the car, injuring her head as she is pulled. She lies in pain as Vic grabs hold of Rosie. Andy rises to check on Thumi, who is still alive, and on Rosie, who Vic is cradling as he laments the incidental death of Lorraine. Rosie is handed over to Andy so that Andy can walk with a hurt Thumi again. Meanwhile, Andy falls prey to another lapse, almost indulging in decayed meat. Having little time left, Andy asks Thumi to protect Rosie. He and Rosie share a farewell before Andy prepares to have the meat wrapped on a stick, putting the guard in his mouth, binding his wrists, and securing the meat on a stick. Then he succumbs, his eyes crusted over. The Aboriginal warriors have just finished their raid when Thumi whistles at her mother, drawing her attention. They are riding on Andy, who is guided by the meat on the stick, and even though he is completely harmless, he is taken away by the warriors, while Thumi and Rosie are greeted by her mother. A warrior tries to strike Andy with his spear, but Thumi stops him. After removing Kay's perfume bottle, she sprays it one final time, the smell temporarily pacifying Andy, who realizes Rosie is safe. Thumi then lets Andy be put to rest by the warrior. Aboriginal people are seen traveling to a refuge where they are warmly welcomed. As Thumi and her mother inspect Rosie, they notice the words "thank you" written in white paint on her stomach. This is how they have disguised their scent from the zombies. The movie ends with Andy's plaid shirt hanging on a tree and Rosie's fishing bait mobile suspended from a branch.